Cheers and welcome back.
Here we go. So, we had to put our beers into horns. Because that's just the way it needs to be.
Because reasons.
Reasons. As much as we like our Guinness glass bottles, but we something about drinking from a horn that's a bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
And I've said this before, it's drinking from a horn, whether it be a cup or a full-length horn, is a tactile connection to our ancestors and their way of life. Then, the drinking horn was around since about recorded 400, 450, 500 BC, somewhere in there. But to have them now, and like I was telling Torbjorn in the episode we did last week, was I hope that we have another 2,500 years of drinking horn heritage to pass on. Because once they're carved, they're heirloom pieces.
Oh yeah,
they will last forever.
As long as you maintain them, keep them clean and moisturize using some beeswax.
You have one?
Like that.
Yeah. How long have you had it?
My horn, I've had. That's a good question. It was gifted to me from Celtic John, and he carved it. 10 plus.
Okay. Yeah.
10 plus.
Excuse me.
Yeah, probably maybe closer to 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Solid use.
Oh yeah, it's taken some abuse and several deep cleans. Early on with the Vikings of the Valley, we were about processing horns, and I was on the not the carving end, but on the cleaning end. And usually I would get a batch of horns and I would trim them for the rim height. You see how this sits? It's not a squared off cup. Right. It's got an angle to it. I would find where the horns were comfortable to drink from, and then mark them and square top them, so it's like a cup. It's just it's your horn.
I had to trim my horn back at one point in time, so it no longer has the little bit of square top that it had. I developed a crack down the side, and I was like, I have to cut it. Why?
Yeah, unfortunately, I got a little bit of that going on with the one that I have, but it's also taken some major spills to the ground due to being only slightly intoxicated.
But if that was a glass bottle,
oh yeah, I would have busted.
It'd have busted, And there's a mess you got to clean up. The horn you can pick back up, drink what's left in it, and then proceed to decide if you need to clean up the mess or not.
I've done that. Part of the problem is the horn is kind of thin on one side, and the 3/4 around is very thick, very stout.
Yeah.
It was I think a Black Angus horn. So
one side's thin, one side's thick.
One side is a little bit thinner where when it's wet you can almost see through it.
Yeah.
Kind of opaque. And then the rest of it, 1/8 inch or better. I mean, it's a thick, stout horn. Yeah. You wouldn't want me to smack you in the face with it. I mean, it's very stout.
I too have a Viking baseball bat. Yeah. The first. I have a couple horns. I have more than a couple horns, but I have a couple real special ones. My Viking baseball bat, as I call it, is about 3.5 pounds. It's this long. It's incredibly thick from brim to tail, and it was something that my dad and I found in an antique shop, and it's massive. And it's the first horn that I ever actually worked. I engraved with a wood burner, "Lo there do I see my father," and I did that translated into English use of the Norse, the Elder Futhark, and translated it all around with a wood burner. But before I did any of that, the top 6 inches I cut off. Went over to Bearman Sam's and said, "I need to make a cup for my dad." So he has a piece of this horn too.
Nice.
And it sits up on the shelf at the house. It's good stuff. So aside from horns, worship? Do you prefer group assembly worship, something structured, something set up and premeditated, if you would, with instruction and intent, or do you prefer in-home solitary worship, as far as what I like to call speakings with your God?
I would have to say both. I've done solitary, and I've gone to rituals.
Yeah.
And had great experiences at a mass gathering.
Yeah.
Oh, well, mass at
more than
like,
just
maybe,
you.
Maybe 20, 30 people, maybe.
Well, I've done and been fortunate to be part of some very large rituals.
You get a lot of energy with that.
Lots
That's
of
a different
energy.
experience.
Anytime that you have, I would say, more than 30 people, you had best have some kind of structure in place to keep things going in the right direction, for sure.
People can get long-winded and
right,
and you gotta have to keep a certain pace with
at some point in time you have to lay down instructions prior to ritual beginning so that everybody kind of knows what's going on. That's but for me, I have moments with my deity of choice, which is Tyr, where I'll just stop and look at the statue that I have of the effigy that I have of him and just kind of make a connection. But also the group activities, whether it be worship, stumble, whatever have you, there is definitely a totally different kind of energy that is involved in that. And personally, though I like the solidarity of doing walking with my God in my way, I also it's almost a necessity to have that group assembly, that communal assembly, as a we'll not say mass worship, because odds are you're not getting more than 30 to 40 people together.
Yeah, well, it reinforces your belief and your shared belief with other people, and then that you make a connection with these people, even if you don't know them, that you're on a similar path, that can just help you not feel so alone in the Christian wasteland that is the United States. I think that a group rituals are important, as well as solidarity. You need to be able to have your own relationship with the gods. That's important.
You definitely have to have that personal connection with your chosen deity, or the deity that chose you.
Yeah.
As well as the open-minded communal support. Whereas I've done events where I'm putting together a vey for Tyr for the event for the week. And I'm doing this with someone that I saw last year. And he's bringing elements. And there's a third person who's also bringing elements for the vey. And we come together with no real predetermination of what we're going to do, but we're bringing what we have to worship in the best way possible, as a group, to present this for the community.
Yeah, and that's a lot of positive energy being brought together for, especially not knowing exactly your outcome, can just add that element of mystery to that energy. Yeah. You're going to be so
come together and manifest
involved in that energy that it's such a positive experience to have,
for sure.
When you can be with other people doing the same thing.
And there are certain things that you can do in that group worship setting that you simply cannot do on the solitary side of things, for sure. When I met you, it was the bonfire. Why are we here at the bonfire? Because we are bonding.
Yeah.
And that was your explanation to it. Simply enough, we're bonding. We're gathering the folk together. And we're meeting them, and we're learning them, and we're introducing ourselves to one another, and we're building, whether it goes no farther than this backyard where we're having this bonfire, we're building that experience and having that experience.
Well, that was the whole purpose.
Yeah.
was...
It took me a couple of years to kind of figure out your angle and how you explained it to me, but it makes perfect sense.
Well, I did the bonfires once a month, 3.5 years, I think.
Yeah.
And the entire purpose, for me, from my point of view, was a gift to anyone who came into the backyard.
Yeah.
Because in that entire time, I never had any issues. Never had the cops called. Never had a fight happen.
Yeah.
It was, and some people didn't pick up on what it really meant, and sometimes I had to really explain it to people that this is a pure gift of an experience, because anywhere you go, you can go to bars anywhere, in a city. I mean, that's pretty much all you got.
Yeah.
You know, people don't have the experience of being around a fire, being with people of like minds, and of unlike minds, just coming together for the entire purpose of we're just going to be here and have a good time. We don't have to worry about
nothing.
We don't have to worry about nothing. You don't have to worry about fighting. You don't have to worry about dealing with bros.
Ain't no issues here.
Yeah. You know, it's just, you're coming for this shared experience just to have a good time.
Yeah.
And my entire enjoyment was having that many people in that backyard.
Yeah.
Having a good time and just being just this chill atmosphere.
Yeah.
The entire time. Like, you had like a separate corner for people if they wanted to go smoke.
Yeah.
And then, because not everyone was into that, and I didn't want anyone to feel alienated.
Or obligated.
You don't have to partake. If they're going to go partake, it's over there.
Yeah.
Just because not everyone here is going to be comfortable with that.
Right.
Some people, like, if they see someone doing that, you know, their mind explodes and they're like, I got to get out of here.
The only thing we're not doing is vegan burgers.
Yeah. You know, and that's why I also have, like, I had 2 barbecue grills at one time. So could have food.
Oh, man, I remember showing up with, like, 30 pounds of meat in a cooler to one of your bonfires and a bag of charcoal just in case you didn't have any. And I said, let's go. Let's go. It's bonfire night, and I'm here early. We're going to get these steaks rolling.
Yeah, I mean, I would start planning, you know, and preparing for it, you know. After a bonfire, like a week later, I'm like, all right, here's the date. This is when we're doing it, and this is what's going to happen, you know. And we're just going to come together and get drunk on an unlevel ground and
see what happens.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And no one ever got hurt. Well, someone did almost fall into the fire, but that was because of their own stupidity.
You're not liable for somebody else's stupidity.
A couple chairs got broken, but they were wooden chairs. It's whatever. It's laughable now. You know, then there was the mud fest the one year where the snow hadn't melted, and I tried shoveling the snow off of the grass so we could still have fire, and then all that did was
making mud.
Making mud, and the backyard was fucked up for like 3 months. I look back on the bonfires as such a wonderful time.
They were. They were great.
It was just great for everyone just to get together and do something other than going out. So I always did it on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Because Friday night, people would always be like, let's go out.
Yeah. It's after work.
After work, we're going to go out. And then Saturday night was like, all right.
What are we going to do?
We're going to go to the fire.
Zed's doing a bonfire.
I mean, the fire pit, 5 foot, 6 foot across stone circle. I mean, have 15-foot flames coming out.
I'll show you my fire pit when we get done recording. Yeah.
And, you know, it was always my intent that it was a gift from me to everyone else.
Bring people together.
When I was a teenager and drinking,
well, let's be clear, it was New Jersey.
Yeah. Back in Jersey in the early 90s, a house party was a novelty.
Yeah.
Going to someone's house, that was like, what? Because everyone lived with their parents. We always went out to to the state forest, which was, you couldn't be out after dark. And we'd go drinking and have a fire on state land.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And it was such an enjoyable, just chill time.
Yeah.
You know, plus, you know, we never left trash. We always left it cleaner than we found it. Just because if you start trashing it too much, the park rangers are gonna get wind of it, you know. And then of course, had people go out there and tear up a spot. But we had like 3 spots that we would go to, and we would always clean before we left. And it was such a joyous time that, like, you know, like I said, a house party was a novelty.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, we're going to a house party? Holy shit. We're going to have a bathroom? That's great. You know, there might even be ladies there. Hey, that's great. You know, but then, like, you know, as I got older, it was, at the time when I started doing them, there was no one having a fire. And if they did, they did it once and have so many people show up, they didn't want to do it again.
Yeah.
There was just
too many people. Oh my God.
Nope. Okay, I would often pick someone who was more sober than I was, because when you're doing a thing as a host and I would circumnavigate the party, you know, the fire
30 times,
checking on people and you're making sure everyone's having a good time if they needed anything, and just get pulled into different conversations.
And you're stuck there randomly for 15 minutes.
Yeah, and so I'd pick someone like, hey, I need a head count. I was like, I'm going to be asking you probably a couple times tonight to do head counts until you're inebriated enough where you can't. And
then we'll find somebody else.
Yeah. And at the most of the time, I'd have people would come and go, but like I had a standing capacity where there'd be like 60, 70 people in that backyard.
Yep.
Just being chill and just hanging out and just having all these great conversations, you know.
Yeah.
And
so much stuff going all over the place.
Yeah, and I would just like enter into all these different conversations, just bouncing all over the place. And it was such a wonderful time for me, because just seeing people that I didn't normally get to see, because, oh yeah, crap, you're doing a fucking fire.
And that's kind of like one of those core aspects of the want and need to acquire land. Because once you acquire land, the things that you can do with it are innumerable. And if you're trying to just get people together and hang out and create an environment of chill and warmth and welcome, dude, what you were doing with the bonfires was that. That was that. And that was really my personal introduction to Vikings of the Valley. Jeff Rigdon walked into my store and said, hey, how you doing? We had a small conversation. He says, all right, I tell you what, you want to hang out? Check it out. Listen, here's an address. Go to it at this time and help him prepare the yard for bonfire. I'm not telling him that you're coming, but you're going to tell him that I sent you. And that's how you and I met. I randomly showed up in your backyard. I'm like, hi, I'm split. Jeff sent me. Okay, here's the mower. Start pushing. And that's how it was. Zed, we've known each other for 12 years.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
We in the past 5 years we probably haven't seen each other but once, maybe twice a year. So it's definitely good to see you again. Good to have you.
Likewise. Well, life happens. It's something that I had to come to terms with, being in my current relationship, which is probably the healthiest relationship I've ever been in.
You've done well since you've been in this relationship.
I have a steady income. I have a beautiful house. I have a beautiful woman. You know, I'm building my hot rod.
Still on the Harley?
Yep. Yeah. Still got the Harley. I bought her a hot rod. That's the next project after mine.
Yeah.
You know.
So one of
the goals. Sorry, I hate to interrupt you, but one of my goals, touching back on the bonfire, I always planned that if I could ever win the lottery, which is a fucking crapshoot.
Yeah.
It's just a pipe dream.
Yeah.
Would be to have a piece of land, to have kind of like a commune where people can just gather and live, get off grid, and just be.
Exist.
Just be chill. Just chill.
Live.
And, you know, be more open to the old ways and, getting back to nature.
There's a certain niche of people that will pay you handsomely to do a full disconnect. You don't get a phone, you don't get electricity, you don't get running water, you don't get toiletries. You got nothing for a week. You just have to have land to start going down those paths of what can you do with the land.
I'm sorry, I like running water. I like having a toilet.
There's a creek.
Yeah, I would like that. I'm not talking about getting too primitive, but something to where
everybody had input.
Everyone could have input into what we're doing, and everyone has purpose. I think a big problem with modern society is people don't have purpose, and they feel disconnected from everyone else, just because that's the purpose of modern society, is to disconnect us from ourselves, so we argue amongst ourselves instead of giving a shit about each other. But that's the rabbit hole of corporate America and capitalism. I'm not gonna be bothered.
Don't drown us now, Zed.
No. See, all right. So I've been a nonconformist and a subversive only fucking forever.
Yeah.
And I just think that just modern society just has lost so much. Connection. That's so much connection with the earth and with each other. That's why the whole point of this is that was a homecoming for me to the paganism and to heathenry, is that it's a connection to everyone else. Even though you and I haven't spoken a whole lot, not because of anything that happens.
Just life happens.
Life happens.
Yeah.
You have your life to live. You have a beautiful home. You have a beautiful wife. You have 2 lovely kids. I have my home. I have my house that I have to worry about.
Yeah.
That's just life happens. But now we have this opportunity to have this and have this great conversation.
Yeah.
And enjoy a beverage out of a horn. But then we just pick up and continue where we left off.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what we have to do. And it's one of those things where, I in my own right mind, I have my obligations and my direction for those obligations.
You have your home, and your home is more important.
Mm-hmm.
For you.
As long as those kids have a roof over their head, my job is mostly complete. I still have to be a father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be a douchebag.
Right. Well,
no douchebags.
No douchebags. I still have to be a dad. The providing part's kind of, well, you bought the house, that now it's your obligation to make sure you pay for the house. But as far as the kids, I want to try to have a life with my kids for sure. But, unfortunately, providing for them kind of gets in the way of having a life with them sometimes. And those are just simple facts. So hopefully, future brings goodness. And
that's all. The only thing any of us can ever strive for is try to improve our situation.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Just to, regardless of what it is, if you're taking steps to improve your situation, then you are moving in the correct direction.
Yeah, everyone needs to have a path improvement.
Yeah, you have to choose to improve, though.
Yeah.
I could simply say that, well, the mortgage is paid, the truck's paid, the internet's paid. Okay, my financial obligations are done and out of the way. Now what do? You have so many other obligations, so much more input that needs to be laid out with your own 2 hands. You've bought the house.
Yeah, you gotta fix it when shit breaks. Great. Now I gotta okay. Case in point, last weekend, having a slight problem with there being a drip from the shower faucet. So then, instead of getting rebuild kits, because you got to take the valves apart anyway, I just replaced the 3 valves in the shower. It was $45 and about an hour
of your time and expertise.
About an hour and a half of my time, considering I had to go to Lowe's and get the parts and do it.
But here's the difference. You did it. You didn't call a plumber.
No.
You didn't call the homeowner's insurance, which they probably would have sent somebody out in a couple of days to check it out. And you may have a $100 deductible and the rest of it might be covered, sure. But to skip all that and to handle the problem yourself and tackle the problem yourself, I do that first, and then if I can't solve the problem, then I'm like, hello.
Well, that's the thing is that the relationship with my father was very strained. It's better now. But he did teach me a lot. And one of the things that he taught me is to know what you're capable of. One, which is not easy for anyone to figure out what exactly they can do.
Okay, that's for sure.
That is, but the other side of that coin is knowing what is outside your expertise.
Yep.
Knowing your limitations. Absolutely. Because I would happen to think that I'm probably one of the most capable people that I know, and there's not much
when I can't
figure out.
Look, when I had to have that the water filtration system replaced in my house, simply because it was from the 80s and it was no longer operational.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of me trying to go buy the equipment and figure out and educate myself on all of that, no, I will call the plumber,
mm-hmm.
and I will say, hello, you have fixed my stuff before via the homeowner's insurance. I want to work with you again. Here is my problem, and I will happily pay you for the equipment, time, and expertise.
Mm-hmm. It's even when it comes to some things that I know I can do.
Yeah,
I've done before. Is it really worth my time to eat up my Saturday to do this when I can call someone to come and do it?
Yeah.
Because I just don't.
And I can actually afford to have somebody come and fix it.
Yeah, that's the thing is, and you got a lot of people, especially now, that don't have that option.
Yeah.
They not only have no idea how to fix anything around the house, but also don't have the wherefore, the money to afford to fix that.
Yeah.
You know, I should probably do like YouTube videos on how to fix shit around your house. Just because
you might get a whole bunch of followers.
Just because.
Oh, by the way, if you don't mind, take the time, like, subscribe. We appreciate that you're here, and hopefully doing so will continue the further of our content. But back to what you were saying.
Yeah, I should probably do something to help people know how to fix things around the house. That there's nothing really hard about any of it.
No.
You just people being afraid of the unknown. And like, right. I don't know how to.
And the sad part is you can't necessarily nowadays call the plumber, have him come in and do the job. While you're there, you're learning how to do it, because it's one of those things that, they went through the time and process to educate themselves on how to repair these things. So don't expect them to show you how it's done in the process.
No. I've run into that when I was a mechanic.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, I have a buddy of mine. Hey, can you come over and work on my car?
No.
Are you gonna pay me? I thought we were friends.
If we were friends,
dude, this is my day off.
Yeah, if you considered us to be friends, you would have offered to pay me before asking me to help me work on your car.
Yeah, I mean, this is my day off. You want me to do you love doing it, and I'm like, for money? yeah, for money. I like working on cars for money. You gonna pay me money? Well, I don't have any. That's why I'm asking you. And I'm like,
all right, real talk. Next question. Do you have beer?
Yeah. Is there beer involved? Is there gonna be lunch? You're gonna feed me?
Is it gonna be?
No.
Is it gonna be fair trade here?
Are you going to kiss my ass now? That's pretty much what you're up against.
I'm not working on it now.
I had so many people that like, hey, what would you charge me to do this, and give them a price, and either they're gonna accept it, which one, I'm giving them a deal.
Yeah. Straight up.
I'm charging them money because I don't feel like doing this fucking job on my fucking day off. But I'm willing to do it for this much, and it's going to be a lot cheaper
than you going and having
Then you going to NTB or Firestone or Goodyear or a dealership.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, man, that's a lot of money. And I'm like, well, I'll tell you what. You call around and see what they would charge you to do that job, and then you call me back. So I give a price. Either they're going to accept it and I'm going to make money, or they're going to fuck off. Because that's a win-win for me either way. Because either my Saturday's freed up and I can work on
they're going to pay me for my time on Saturday, or they're not.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a whole other thing. And luckily, because I used to do things for favors and lunch or beer, and then when I started asking for money,
All of that disappeared.
It freed up my weekends. It was kind of great. You know, I have made some people did want to like, hey, okay, I will pay that. And I'm like, all right, that's gonna help me buy parts for my hot rod.
Right.
No problem. But really, legitimately, I think the whole thing about heathenry coming back around and coming into more into focus within the community is nothing but a good thing. And I think what you're doing here, this is a good thing. This can help people connect that might be either on the fence or they're starting to hear that knock at the door, and they don't know what it is yet. Because some people
have the opportunity but don't realize it.
Yeah, they have the opportunity, or they're looking for something, but they don't know what they're looking for.
Kind of blind.
They're just like, something doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I'm just going out here doing these different things, and legitimately, we are social creatures, sexual beings that need to connect with people, and we're spiritual beings too. Yeah. That we need to be able to connect and communicate with like-minded people, and it truly is a much better world than it was 20 years ago when I moved to Virginia, as far as the acceptance.
Yeah.
I've lost jobs. They didn't come out directly and say it because that would be illegal for them to do so. Right.
But it happens.
It happened, and I've lost jobs because of my beliefs. I know I'm probably gonna make some people upset. I'm getting a little long-winded in my disdain, but the truth of the matter is, you don't have Christians losing their jobs or being judged at their jobs based on their faith. If anything,
they're more accepted.
They're more accepted. Yeah. To be a non-Christian in the South is not an easy thing. Yeah. I'm not going to be as crass to try and even suggest it's even close to being a person of color in the South, because that's something that I have no way of even knowing what that experience is. There's zero experience. There's nothing that I can experience in my life that would even prepare me to completely, fully understand and comprehend that. No. That's. But I've experienced probably only a small taste of that. Yeah. Based on my faith, it's nice to see that people are slowly coming around, and that the community is growing stronger. Yeah. It's probably the point.
Yeah. Zed, again, thank you so much for coming around.
Well, thank you for having me.
And
I appreciate that.
We need to get together more often. It's been a few years, but thank you again. And to all of you out there, give us a like, give us a subscribe. It's all about that conversation. Catch you next time. Hail the gods.
Hail the gods. Skull. Blessed be.
Good night.
Awesome.